This is Wade Meckler from the Giants, and this is Jim on Base.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. We're here at Scottsdale Stadium with the great Wade Meckler. And Wade, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and curious, you are from the Anaheim area, so I got to ask, are you a big Angels guy, or who are your teams growing up?
Well, growing up, I was an Angels fan. Now I'm a Giants fan, obviously. But yeah, I grew up a huge Angels fan, going to games. Yeah, loved the Angels, and then once I started getting an inkling that I might get drafted, I was like, all right, I got to let that go a little bit, and whoever drafts me, that's who I'm a fan of now.
And when you talk about growing up, did you have any Angels jerseys or player jerseys that you like to wear?
I wasn't a huge jersey guy. They were so expensive, I couldn't really afford them. But yeah, I loved Sean Figgins. I was like kind of like David Eckstein towards the end of his tenure with the Angels. Like, I knew who he was, and he ended up going to the Cardinals, and liked Eckstein because he was so small, and we were similar players, with me growing up with how he was. Yeah, Sean Figgins, David Eckstein, Garrett Anderson, like all those old-time Angels were my favorite players. There's
some good names. Sean Figgins is one of my favorite guys.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, he was the man back in the day.
Do you have a favorite sports movie then growing up that sticks out? Or
I don't think I liked Moneyball. That's a good one just because I feel like it's it does about as good a job of any other movie of like getting into the nitty-gritty of baseball, especially for like such a blockbuster Hollywood movie. But yeah, I'll go with Moneyball.
And your mom went to San Jose State, right? So you kind of have a little bit of a Bay Area connection there in a way.
Yeah, she played volleyball at San Jose State, I think from 88 to 91 or 92. Yeah, I had a good career out there, and then ended up moving to teaching.
And you went to Oregon State, right? I thought you had an interesting story because you made the team, then were you cut, and then you came back, and the rest was kind of history? Or?
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird situation. So I made the team in 19. I was the last guy on the roster. I was walked on there, and with college rosters, you have to pare the roster down by cutting walk-ons because you can't. If you cut a scholarship player, you lose that roster spot. So made the team, last guy on the roster my freshman year. Sophomore year, they basically told me, like, look, you're not going to make this team. We like you as a player. Like, if you want to transfer, no hard feelings. Like, we'll help you find another school. And I basically told them, no, I'm staying. And then they let me keep working out with the team, come back the couple days before we were supposed to leave. Actually, it was the day before we were supposed to leave for Arizona for our opening game. They come in and say, hey, we cut a scholarship player, and we thought it was going to work with you being on the roster, but now it's a 34-man roster. So, and you were the last guy on again. So I got cut twice in the same year, and that was 20, and but they still let me come work out and use facilities and all that stuff. And I came back in 21 and made the team that year, ended up leading off, and then started my senior year and got drafted.
And it makes me wonder, though, where did you get? You're really disciplined at the plate. You have a great eye. Is that something you've worked on, or you kind of had a natural thing growing up, or?
Yeah. So my dad hated strikeouts growing up more than anything. So I kind of developed the bat to ball skills. He would throw me small balls with a small bat all the time, and I would kind of develop that. And then the swing decisions came in college. We had a coach, his name was Tyler Graham, who was huge on, he called it lane training, where you basically would never swing and you just yes and no pitches that were in a certain lane. And I used to do that every day, and it kind of got my swing decisions to a point to where I got really good at swinging at strikes and taking balls. And I combined that with some swing changes after I got cut my sophomore year going into my junior year. Finally, I was able to get behind baseballs and actually have some quickness to my swing. So just a combination of quickening up my swing, learning how to get behind baseballs after my sophomore year, combined with those improved swing decisions from doing that drill, kind of created a little bit more of a contact-oriented approach.
It's pretty cool because it must have been a pretty emotional MLB debut for you then, because you kind of had a long road.
I was not necessarily. I just, I worked up through the minor leagues. I don't really like looking back, towards the past that much because it doesn't matter. It's all about what I'm going to do, not what I have done. So I got up there and I was like, all right, I thought I had an off day today. No, I don't. I'm playing. So it was just obviously it's a bigger scale, and it was a lifelong goal to get up there. But it was like, now I have to hit. Like, I got a game. I got to look at the report. It turned into, what am I doing tonight?
Well, speaking of one thing you've done, though, you got your first big league hit. So who has it right now? Do your parents have it? Or?
Yeah, I gave it to my parents. We were on the road so much, I wasn't really comfortable just leaving it in an empty house. So I gave it to my parents. They're holding on to it for me. Same thing with my jersey from that game. They got both of those things.
And if you were to start a podcast, who would be a good co-host teammate, do you think, to join? And what would you want to talk about?
Ooh, that's a good question. Trying to go through the roster. I'm gonna go sneaky pick here. Fans might not know him, Andy Thomas. And honestly, whatever comes to his brain, because he's one of those guys who's very knowledgeable about random subjects. So I think I'd let him take the reins and just kind of I would just be someone for him to talk to about the things that was coming up on his head.
Yeah, you'll be the color guy. He'll be the play-by-play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs someone to say it to, so he would just say it to me. Yeah.
And when it comes to being in season, are you a guy that keeps the same hat? Do you like it dirty? Do you keep it clean? How do you kind of?
It pretty much just goes until it gets really floppy, and then I just get a new one. I don't think I changed hats one time last year, but I was also moving around a ton, so hats never really got to that point. But typically, I'll go through like a hat or two in a season, maybe. Yeah.
And this isn't your first spring training. You know a lot of the guys here, so do you kind of have the handshakes down now, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually just just go for the dap up, or you go for the high five. It's nothing's too intricate or anything like that. It's usually pretty simple.
And final question here: baseball takes such a lot of your time through the year. So what do you like to do away from the game? How do you kind of relax or to keep things sane for you?
In season, not a whole lot. It's just I try to be as singularly focused as I can. Off season, I like to hunt and fish. I live in a really good area for fishing, especially. But a lot of the stuff that I hunt isn't in season when I'm off, so that's kind of tricky. But yeah, mostly fishing now just because of the area that I'm in. But yeah, I prefer to hunt, but in season it's just baseball.
Well, you got to hunt with Will Clark then.
Is he a hunter? I didn't know that.
Yeah, big hunters.
I didn't know that.
Or Joey Bart, right?
Joey's a huge, but he's down in Georgia. We're like opposite sides of the country. Yeah, I'm living up in Washington.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Wade, this is fun getting to chat with you. Thanks for coming on the show, and I'll be rooting for you the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.